Stock bikes have some pretty horrific parts on them, and I always remove these 5. I recently made a video on why manufacturers make these parts so and I'll leave a link to that video in the description. But today, I'm gonna cover not only what the parts are, but the tools you'll need to remove these parts, and some very valuable tips and tricks to make these mods very easy, and how not to this up if you should not be so mechanically inclined. Now, I've been building bikes for about 20 years, and I have learned a thing or two along the way. I'm still learning, but today I'm gonna share some of the stuff I have learned along the way. If you're liking this video, hit that like button so you can see a lot more of me. Hello, my baby. And more motorcycle shit. All right, let's dive into this holy mess. As I said earlier, if you want to see a total breakdown video of why manufacturers are making these parts so shitty, go ahead and click the link in the video when you're done with this one and enjoy. If you're on a budget, or even if you're not, you can't do all the stuff at the same time. So here's the order I would do these things in, and we're gonna start with the exhaust. So the reason I remove the exhaust first is because I believe it's the most reward for the least amount of work. It's the best thing you can do to the bike to really wake it up. You'll have a lot more fun on it, and it's gonna look really freaking cool and sound better. So when I go to change out the stock exhaust on a bike and put on something like these beautiful stainless backdrafts made by TJ Brutal Customs for this 1100, I'm gonna show you guys the tools I use and how I get set up to execute this properly. I'm gonna show you how to set up to make this job fun and easy. First off, I'm gonna grab my tool cart. I'm gonna show you how I typically set up to do a job like this. You may not have some of the stuff I have in my shop, but you'll get the idea of the whole process. Now, the main benefit of setting up like I do is I'm actually going to tell you all the shit you're gonna need beforehand so you don't make 75 trips back to the toolbox. I like to have all the tools on hand, so it makes the job a lot easier, a lot quicker, and get you back on the bike fast. I'm gonna show you my tool chest and how I pull the tools I'm gonna need for this job. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take a look at my exhaust studs. I'm gonna see what I'm working with here, and I'm gonna check out, is everything intact? Are there any heat shields that need to be removed first? And I'm gonna grab the appropriate tools. Now, on Honda Shadows, you're looking at usually a 12mm or 13mm nut on those studs. As far as this stuff down here, because your stock exhaust is gonna have a big, freaking fugly muffler, I promise there's nothing to write home about it, but it's gonna be mounted back here. You're probably gonna need anything from a 14 all the way down to a 10mm to remove the exhaust from the bracketing. So here we are at my tool cart, and this tool cart has tools that I use on a really frequent basis, at least typically once a week. I've got a much bigger bench that has all the other tools that are used infrequently. That's my specialty tools and really big wrenches for big motorcycle jobs. In here, I have this split up by metric on one side, standard on the other. Obviously, I don't have a lot of standard stuff because I'm just getting into Harley, but I'm sure that's gonna grow. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the ratchet I need. Typically for this job, I'm gonna need a 3/8 drive. This is kind of my go-to for a lot of jobs. To remove the exhaust studs on these bikes, you're gonna need an extension about long. I don't know how long this thing is off the top of my head. These are really great because they're called Wobble Plus. They're from Snap-on. And what this allows you to do is when you take your socket and put it on here, you can fully engage and it's straight, or you can push off a little bit and you get some movement so you can get it at different angles. Love these extensions. So I'm gonna grab my 12 and 13 deep wall sockets. There's my extension, and I'm gonna get to work. Now, aside from the tools you're gonna need to remove the exhaust, you're gonna need something to get the exhaust gaskets out of the ports. And what I like to do for that is one of a couple things. I will grab this coolant hose pick, and sometimes they'll just come out easy with a tiny little pick like this. Here's your new exhaust gaskets. When you pull the exhaust off, you're gonna find a set of these. God, I hope not, there's not two because I've seen that before, but they're gonna be smashed the hell in there. And you gotta make sure you get these out. If you don't get these out completely, you're gonna stack another gasket on there and you do risk an exhaust leak. Here's one more tip, guys. If you take any tip from tonight, this is the biggest tip. Anytime you change intake or exhaust, you must tune. You must tune. Another tip here that is gonna be very helpful. If you install our backdraft exhaust on your 1100, you're gonna see there's a brace back here. What I like to do is I like to pre-assemble the brace. I like to thread the bolts into the nuts through the bracket and pre-assemble the pipes loosely. So they're fit on there, but you can manipulate the pipes. Then get them put onto the bike. Once you have your exhaust studs tightened down, then you can tighten down the brace. That is honestly the easiest way to get these things installed. So the second thing I do is tuning. I do the second because this is the missing key that connects the intake and the exhaust. You can't just change your intake and exhaust and rip down the road. The bike will not run properly. Tuning is what allows you to get the actual performance gains measured in horsepower, torque, and the cool sound, I mean, if you can measure that, out of the bike. So you put some cool exhaust on, it's imperative that you tune. Now, if you're looking to tune, one of the easiest options is our Max Performance Kit. And that includes your exhaust, your intake, and a performance rebuild or tuning kit. You are going to need those things. We've taken all the guesswork out of that. Pressure. And if you want to learn how to use those, you can find an extensive library of how-tos all over our YouTube channel. So I'm gonna show you guys right now what tools you will need for tuning. All right, so some of the first things I grab, this is a float bowl gauge to ensure the float height is correct. This is a little 7mm combination wrench, very old little snap-on guy here. But this is to remove the emulsification tube. I use this guy here for other things in the carb. I use this for some of the screws. When you buy a Max Performance kit, in the rebuild kit, you're going to get a bunch of stainless screws that will replace the JIS standard Phillips steel ones that are on there. They're usually pretty crusty, so that's important. Screwdriver, self-explanatory. This is to get those jets out. This little guy is a custom tool I made out of a tiny piece of wire. And this allows me to get down inside the air-fuel mixture hole and remove the rubber O-ring and the metal washer so I can install the new ones correctly. All you gotta do is get a piece of freaking hanger, bend it at the end and snip it off real close. It's just a really tiny bend there. I'm hoping the glasses are picking that up for you guys. So we're gonna pretend that you've already got your air tank off, the snorkel, all that crap, and all you've got are the carbs sitting on the bike. So you are gonna need to free the carbs from the intake boots. You will need a screwdriver, Phillips. That is going to release the bands around the boots so you can wiggle the carburetors off. Now, once you've got the carburetors off, you're gonna wanna drain the float bowls, get yourself a metal container to drain the extra gas into. You will also possibly need to remove some clips from the fuel lines. Really easy way to do that is old-fashioned pliers. You're gonna pinch those things, slide them down the tube, and then something I like to use, a handy tool that frees especially old hose from components, is one of these pairs of pliers. You can get these for a song on eBay, Amazon. Basically, you put your hose inside here and you do this, and it pulls the hose off of whatever nipple it's on. These are a lifesaver, and they'll prevent you from screaming at things and having to use a screwdriver. Now, when you go to remove your carbs, you may discover that they are pretty stubborn and they don't want to come out from the boots. When you reinstall them, get a little bit of grease and grease the intake boot. I'm not talking globs, I'm just talking enough to grease your finger, feel gross and slick, and wipe it on the inside there. This really eases the installation of the mouth of the carb into the boot, which is rubber. I mean, if you ever rubbed your hand on dry rubber, it doesn't slide. So this is gonna make your life a lot easier and it will prevent tears in the rubber. Now, when you go to remove the carbs, they may need a little convincing. You may need to employ a pry bar. If you do this, it's very important that you pay attention to what you lay it on. So if you're going to have to set this on top of the head, I encourage you to put a piece of wood under there. Don't just use a rag. Use a piece of wood, brace it, and be very gentle. Bear in mind, those carburetor bodies are aluminum, so you cannot crank on things like this little spring here or this little guy right here. You want to go all the way at the back and gently nudge it. Now, it may take some time rocking those carbs back and forth, but with a little bit of patience and a couple beers, maybe a few swear words, I assure you it is possible. So that's exhaust and tuning. Now, the third thing I like to do is remove stock bars. This is a change that can really help improve the cockpit of the bike. It can make you as a rider more comfortable and the bike can look a lot cooler. So I'm gonna show you guys the tools you will likely need to remove those bars and put on some cool bars, as well as some useful time-saving tips and I'll call it recommendations of my own. Let's go to the tool chest. Now, you're gonna need a few tools to get the bars off the bike. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to remove the clusters and your hand controls, your brake and your clutch lever. So to do that, you're going to need Phillips screwdriver, set of Allen keys, metric, mind you. Next thing you're gonna need to get those risers off is a 14mm combination wrench. Now, when you do this, I recommend that you put a blanket over the tank, or if the tank's already off the bike, that is ideal. If you see a bunch of crap up here like this, don't be overwhelmed. Just approach things one at a time and take them off piece by piece. Go slow, don't force anything, and you'll get the job done in no time. Now, here's a quick tip. Once you've got your new risers threaded in, don't tighten down the bottom bolt. What you're gonna wanna do is put your new bars into the risers, tighten them down, and use that to keep the risers straight, and then tighten these bolts at the bottom. That'll ensure that your risers are straight, because what happens is if you tighten this down first, the risers can be crooked, and then you gotta force them and tap them and get your bars in there. It's a mess. So set the bottom bolt loosely, clamp in the bars, center them where you want, and then tighten down the bottom bolt. So that is exhaust performance or tuning and bars. And new bars naturally means new grips. Now, a nice tool to have for making grip removal easy can be one of two things really. Last resort is razor blades, because if you got rubber grips on there and somehow they were glued, you might just need to get a razor blade and cut that fucker off. I like to try and use compressed air first, get your compressed air nozzle behind the grip and kind of try to blow it off. This can also be used in reverse to get new rubber grips on if that's what you choose. I usually put a little spit inside of a rubber grip, smush it around, push it on the bar as far as it'll go, and the compressed air underneath the grip allows you an air cushion to push the grip on. Now, personally, I like to run machined grips, aluminum or brass, and I'll put links to those favorites of mine in the description. And finally, the fifth thing that I absolutely get rid of is the foot pegs. I remove the foot pegs for the simple reason, first, that they are fugly as sin. The second reason is that I want my bike to look cool. I want it to look like I give a crap about it. Now, I get rid of the pegs. As we all know, the first rule in choppers is to look cool, right? The manufacturer put little to no effort into making their foot pegs. It's just kind of it's a place you put your feet. And there's nothing to write home about. They're not inspiring. That's why I like to replace those pegs right away. Get something cool looking on there, something that's got some grip to it. You're gonna feel better about yourself when you ride down the road. Now I'm gonna show you the tools you need to replace those foot pegs. And this is surprisingly simple. You're gonna need a small punch or a drift like this. You are going to need, whoops, wrong drawer, some needle nose like this, possibly a set of dikes, small hammer or mallet for the punch, and that's pretty much it. All you're gonna do is you're going to pull the cotter pin out using the dikes or the needle nose pliers, and you're going to punch the pin out with your drift. Slide the new pegs in, put the pin back through, and put the new cotter pins in the pin. Done and done. Now, obviously, I know there is a boatload more stuff you can do to this bike. Yes, but these are the first 5 things I always address on every single bike. They wake a bike up, they make you feel better in the saddle, they look cooler, and it's just a better ride. Now that's what I remove. And as we all know, in the book of Chop Relations, it says if you don't do it the way that TJ says, you're wrong. If you want to learn how to do motorcycle stuff the right way, subscribe.